Want to talk about where we are now and when we last talked. So we last talked, you were one of my first conversations post debate Friday morning. There was a mix from you as a Democrat, shock and anger. Now we sit here, it is Wednesday afternoon. How have your feelings changed, developed? What are you thinking?
I mean, I think the shock has sort of worn off, the anger has set in, but now it's also time to be like, where do we go from here? And it's time to be constructive and pick a path. And I think that that is where the party is moving very, very quickly.
And you wrote a piece this morning about President Biden's debate performance as well as the fallout from that. And it's titled this: Stop Gaslighting, Get with Reality, Make a Choice Fast. First, let's talk about the first half here. Talk about the gaslighting. Who's responsible? What are they saying?
Well, as I write in my piece, there's a couple of theys, right? It's like they did this. And one they is the White House, the top people at the White House, top people in the Biden campaign, potentially cabinet secretaries, United States senators, members of Congress, and the first family. And then there's the they, which is the media, which very clearly looked the other way on this story for at least months, if not a year plus. And so on both of those fronts, it's incredibly dangerous, right? Trust in government is already at an all-time low. This only reinforces that. Trust in the media is at an all-time low. Donald Trump famously dubbed fake news in 2016. And ever since then, you have seen faith in media in every poll go down lower and lower and lower. And there was a Wall Street Journal piece that came out a couple of weeks ago where they said that Biden was slowing down, losing a step behind the scenes, and the pushback on that piece was fast and furious and sort of universal. And it looks like the reality is that that reporter was right, and all of the people that were pushing back on it were lying. So, it's both sides, because the media also was not quick to jump on the Wall Street Journal's bandwagon and say this is true and write a series of stories about it. They sort of got defensive. So it hurts everyone on all fronts, and it's the worst possible thing that could happen for government and democracy.
I want to talk about that, like the trust in media a bit there, because if someone were to suggest pre-debate, obviously, that President Biden was showing signs of slipping like the Wall Street Journal did, there were some gaffes over the past year that have accelerated, they would be considered fringe, potentially right-wing propaganda. What do you think the lesson is here?
The lesson is call balls and strikes. I wrote about this in my column. Jill Abramson, who used to be the executive editor for the New York Times, put out this statement yesterday that was mind spinning. Because on the one hand, she was taking the White House and the Bidens to task for this massive cover up, as she put it, and then sort of lambasting the media for failing to do her job. But she had this one line in her statement where she said, I fear that the reporters didn't want to write these stories because it could be viewed as helping Trump, which I understand, ... No, what? Which you understand? This is why no one has faith in the media, because the media's role is not to be an activist. The media's role is, regardless of favor, regardless of personal feelings, regardless of editorial board leadings, to call balls and strikes. And it's clear that over time, that responsibility has eroded, which has led to this situation where we all kind of talk to ourselves, right? We've got curated Twitter feeds, curated social media channels. If you want to hear one version of reality, watch Fox News. If you want to watch a different version of reality, watch MSNBC. And it used to be that there was one truth and you would make up your mind. And the country's media system has completely broken down. And so now no one's going to trust anything.